Hello, everyone. My name is Angie, and I'm the director of the Student Loan Empowerment Project at MyPath. Thank you so much for joining us here today. I'm very excited to present to you all things student loans. And in this workshop, you will learn a lot. We do have a lot to get through, so I will do my best to be thorough and complete as we go through here. So you will learn about the Student Loan Empowerment Network. You'll also learn about the California Student Borrower Bill of Rights that we have here in California. And of course, following a lot of the basic learning that you'll need about student loans. All right, so this is our complete agenda for today. And yes, if you could please hold your questions for the end. We've saved some time for a Q&A at the end. All right, so just before we begin, I wanted to share just some stats around student loan debt here in California. So there are 4 million borrowers who owe about $141 billion of student loans. The average debt load per person is about 37,000 with an average monthly payment of 203. The majority of debt is held by borrowers between the ages of 35 to 49 years old. And the default rate in California right now is 7%. All right. So in the United States alone, so we have borrowers who are about $1.78 trillion of student loan debt. We are aware of the challenges borrowers encounter when dealing with their student loan debt, and those challenges keep growing today. With this in mind, there is help for student loan borrowers. So the Student Loan Empowerment Network was created with student loan borrowers in mind. It's made up of 14 nonprofit organizations in partnership with the Department of Financial Protection and Innovation, the DFPI, and provides free and individualized education, case management, and assistance with student loan issues for Californians. MyPath is one of the 14 organizations, and our mission is to help California student loan borrowers navigate the complex and ever-changing student loan repayment system and help them to manage their student loan debt. Our goal is to support California student loan borrowers' repayment options, loan forgiveness, cancellation, discharge, deferment, forbearance, and any resolving issues that they have with their loan servicers. Like I mentioned earlier, the Student Loan Empowerment Network is made up of 14 organizations, including some legal aid organizations who provide legal assistance to borrowers who may be in need of legal advice or representation. And here's the complete list of the organizations who are part of the network. So here is what a borrower can gain from the Student Loan Empowerment Network support services. We provide general support. Under general support, we provide general education, financial education, and individual counseling to borrowers. We help them to explore the repayment options, resolve issues with federal and private student loan servicers and lenders. We help them to get out of default to prevent wage garnishments, Social Security offsets, and any tax intercepts. We also provide the specialized support, and this comes from our legal aid agencies. So they provide individual counseling to borrowers with complex cases, support and guidance with their complex cases from direct service providers. They help with reporting servicer violations and also support with filing complaints with appropriate entities. You should know that as a borrower, you have rights in the state of California. So these rights are here to protect you, the borrower, from unfair and predatory practices from lenders and servicers. So I wanted to share a video that thoroughly explains what the California Bill of Rights is about.
In California, when you take out a student loan, there are laws that protect you. You have the right to accurate information about your repayment. You have the right to clear answers to your questions. Servicers and lenders must minimize their fees. Servicers must apply all payments in a way that helps reduce the overall cost of the loan. Servicers must process and post payments in a timely fashion. Servicers must maintain accurate records. Servicers must not engage in deceptive or abusive practice in connection with loan servicing. Know your loan. Know your rights. Know your options. Learn more at dfpi.ca.gov/back on track.
Awesome. All right, so we're going to begin with the basics, right, of student loans. So it's important to know the life cycle of student loans so that you can keep track of when you should start to think about repaying your student loans. So here's just a little quick look for each. So the FAFSA, here is where the student completes a FAFSA and is offered student loans, which you can accept or decline. For the in-school status, if you're in school, you will not be making any payments during this time. You will be just focusing on actually going to school, not have to worry about any kind of payments to your loans. All right. Then you hit a grace period. The grace period comes after you graduate or you finish your school load, and you have 6 months of no payments to make. This is a good time to think about how to repay your student loans and also to create a plan so that you're ready when the time comes to start paying back those loans. When you're in repayment, one thing that you do need to note that as a student loan borrower, if you do not select a repayment plan, you would be automatically enrolled in the standard repayment plan. So we will be talking about the standard repayment plan in the next couple of slides. And then lastly, you'll either pay off or hopefully get your loans canceled. So the ultimate goal is to either, again, pay off your student loans or get them canceled or forgiven through one of the programs. Okay, so understanding what you owe. Understanding the loans is just as important as knowing how much you owe. So we're going to keep it simple, right? We're going to understand, you want to understand the type of loan that you have. Are they federal or private loans? How much do you owe per loan? Where do you get your information, right? So for federal student loans, you can find your loan details on your loan servicer account, or you can log on to your studentaid.gov account. This is the same account that you applied or filled out the FAFSA. You want to make sure that you can access your accounts, right? Write down your username and password. You can also check your promissory notes, that's the MPN, and this is the agreement that you signed when you first accepted your student loans. Hopefully you kept it somewhere and saved it so that you can access it later. So for private loans, you can find loan details in the loan agreement that you signed when you took out those student loans. Again, very important for you to keep those papers, right? And know where you can find them. You can also contact the lender or the servicer of the loan. Checking your credit report is another way for you to find that information. Also saving communications or notifications that are sent to you. Again, your loan agreement has everything that you need to know, and pretty much everything that you've need to know about the private loan that you took out. And then lastly, you want to get the payment information. So know where you need to get to make those payments. And it's usually on the servicer website, right? Know the payment amount, the payment due date, and how much interest you owe as well. And so we want to take a look at your loan servicer. Let's talk about a lender versus a servicer. So the lender is the company or organization or the bank, right, lending you the money. This is where the loan originates from. For federal loans, the U.S. Department of Education, also known as the ED, is the lender, right? For servicers, this is where the borrower's main point of contact is. This is who they are. They are the ones that collect and process loan payments. They process changes in repayment plans. They help you out with deferments or forbearances if you're having a hard time to pay, and other activities to prevent default. Okay, so a borrower may be transferred to several servicers throughout the lifetime of the loan, and you may have more than one servicer. So we're going to do a little deep dive into these servicers. Okay, so I want just a little breakdown of the role that each of these play on your student's load. The servicer's role is really to help you manage your student loans. They are paid to provide support on behalf of the government for free. So you don't pay for this service, right? They work on behalf, again, of the U.S. Department of Education to handle your federal student loans. This includes billing, responding to your questions, and helping you to understand your repayment plan, and also to help you change that repayment plan if needed. If you have issues managing your loans or making payments, your loan servicer can help you. You can call them back, you can call them and speak to them directly about any loan issues that you have. They are supposed to work with you to ensure that you can manage your payments. Sometimes loans are transferred from one servicer to another, and you should be notified immediately if and when this happens. The new servicer will support you as you repay your loans. Okay. Now, what happens when the loans are transferred to another servicer? One, you will receive an email or a letter from your assigned servicer to inform you about the transfer. Now, I say this is what's supposed to happen, should happen, and we need to make sure that this happens. And this is part of, you keeping in touch with the servicer and your servicer keeping in touch with you. A lot of the times they don't do this. And so as the network, as part of the network, we want to know when servicers do not communicate with you. Again, you have rights in the state of California, and this is something that they are supposed to communicate with you. All right. Um, the next thing that should happen is that you should receive a welcome letter from the new servicer as soon as they receive your loans. Those loans are transferred to them, right? That letter will provide contact information for the new servicer and any next steps that you need to take to move forward. All your loan information will be transferred from your assigned servicer to your new servicer. All right. There will be no changes in the terms of your loans. That needs to stay the same. The payment should stay the same. The amount that you've already paid off should stay the same. All right. So it's, again, super important for you to be aware that everything transfers over. Okay. Your previous loan servicer and new loan servicer will work together to make sure that all the payments that you made during the transfer process are accredited to your loan account with the new servicer. And you should do your due diligence, right, to ensure that everything is correct. All right. So the next thing we're going to talk about are your student loan repayment options. Now, I do want to give you guys a heads up that these are about to change, and I do have some updates. But because we are in today's time, these repayment plans are still an option for student loan borrowers who are in repayment at this moment. Okay, so federal repayment plan. So if you don't pick a repayment plan, your loan servicer will place you on the standard repayment plan. And that's usually a 10-year fixed repayment plan. This plan may result in a higher monthly payment for you, okay? You want to explore affordable repayment plans. So pick from repayment plans based on your income and family size that'll help to lower your monthly payment. The lower your income or the larger your family size, the less your monthly pay should be. All right, that's the idea. So we're going to talk about the federal repayment plans first. Okay, these are plans that are made to pay off your loans. We have the standard repayment plan, we have the graduated repayment plan, and the extended repayment plan. Now, I'm going to break these down. I'm going to try to go a little bit quickly because I really do want to make time for questions at the end. So with the standard repayment plan, again, this is designed to pay off your student loan. The loan servicer will automatically put you here if you do not select another one, a different repayment plan. So under the standard repayment plan, payments are fixed and are made up for up to 10 years, depending on your loan balance. Most borrowers have about a 10-year term. It can be paid within 10 to 30 years for consolidated loans. All right, so if you do a loan consolidation, it will take you a little bit longer on this to pay it off on the standard repayment plan. Here are the list of eligible loans, and you can see that the majority of loans actually fall under this. Next, you have the graduated repayment plan. This also is to pay off the loan and will not result in cancellation. All right, so to sign up for this plan, borrowers have to contact their loan servicer. So with the graduated repayment plan, the borrower will pay less than what they would be under a standard repayment plan. Again, this plan is not eligible for income-driven repayment or PSLF cancellations. When it comes to your monthly payments, payments start low at first and then gradually increase, usually every 2 years. Payment amounts are designed to ensure that your loans are paid off within 10 years. And again, with consolidated loans, anywhere between 10 to 30 years. And the list does not change. Here are the list of eligible loans for the graduated repayment plan. And then we have our extended repayment plan. This payment plan is also designed, again, to pay off the loan and will not result in cancellation. The borrower must have more than $30,000 in outstanding direct loans or FFEL loan programs. So monthly payments will be lower in an extended repayment plan than if you were on a standard repayment plan or graduated repayment plan. Borrowers will pay for a longer period of time over here. This one is also not eligible for PSLF cancellation. So when it comes to your monthly payments, the payments can be fixed or graduated and will ensure that the loans are paid off within 25 years. And the list, again, does not change for eligible loans. Okay. So we are now going to be talking about the income-driven repayment plans. These are also known as IDR plans. These IDR plans, payments are made on based on income, family size, tax filing status, and the repayment plans borrowers enroll in. So payments can be as low as $0 per month, and borrowers can earn credit toward loan forgiveness and PSLF programs while making these payments. So borrowers generally need to recertify their income each year, and their payments may change based on their income. I will be touching on recertification in the next couple of slides as well. So borrowers can always recertify whenever their income decreases. Again, we'll talk about that in the next coming slides. So generally, payments are applied to interest first, then collection costs, then late charges, and then finally to the principals. So the plans here include Save, Pay, IBR, and ICR. And I'm sorry, the Save plan is no longer an option here, so please scratch that. So we're going to break these down for you. So for the IBR plan, it's known as the income-based repayment plan. A couple of facts here is that monthly payments that are 15% of the borrower's discretionary income. All right, so again, depending on when you receive your first loan, right? Payment will never be more than 10% of the standard repayment plan amount. And each year you must update your income and family size, again, recertifying, right? And so with the IBR plan, you can it offers forgiveness after 25 years, right? And when they talk about offers forgiveness after 25 years, that means that after 25 years of payments, they can forgive whatever is left of that. And it's usually the interest. All right, eligible loans over here are, again, subsidized and unsubsidized federal Stafford loans, direct and FFEL Plus loans made to students, direct or FFEL consolidated loans. The ones that are not included in here are the Parent Plus loans, okay? Those are the ones that are not eligible for any income-driven repayment plan. All right, the next one we have is the ICR plan, the Income Contingent Repayment Plan. So the monthly payments here are about 20% of the borrower's discretionary income or the amount a borrower may pay on a repayment plan with a fixed payment over 12 years. And it's adjusted according to your income. So they're going to take the lesser of the two. There is a formula that is used. I have no idea what that formula is. I just know that they take those two calculations and give you the lesser one, okay? This is actually an ideal choice if you want to save on interest. So borrowers, again, must recertify their income each year, and it may also be eligible for loan forgiveness. So this is considered an IDR plan, which means that it qualifies for PSLF. And this also offers forgiveness after 25 years. And the eligible loans are the same as with the IBR plan. All right, next we have pay as you earn. So the monthly payments on a pay plan are generally equal to 10% of a borrower's discretionary income. Payment will never be more than a 10-year standard repayment plan. And then it offers forgiveness after 20 years of monthly payments. Again, another formula that's used, right? And so the eligible loans over here must be a new borrower, which means that they have to be a borrower on or after October 1st, 2007, and at least one loan dispersed after October 1st, 2011 to be able to be put on the pay as you earn plan. And here are the loans that are eligible. Pretty much almost the same, all except for the Parent Plus loan. Okay. All right, so now I really do want to talk about these important updates. So if, as many of you may already heard, that on July 4th, President Donald Trump signed the One Big Beautiful Bill into law. So the biggest changes that are for borrowers include the creation of a new income-driven repayment plan. We don't have full information or detailed information about these plans, but I know that we will be working on updating this information and informing folks about these new plans. So please keep an eye out for that information. What this bill also does is that it ends the SAVE plan as well as other income-driven repayment plans like the ones I just informed you about. And they will be leaving the income-based repayment plan and introduce the WRAP plan. And this will happen after July 1st, 2028. Okay. The bill also ends any Grad Plus loan programs and also creates new limits on how much students and parents can actually borrow in federal student loans. The one good thing out of this bill is that it allows borrowers to rehabilitate loans up to 2 times to remove them from default. So that means that if you default in your loans, that you are able to get out of the default through rehabilitation. And I will also have information on that. Please note that if you have loans right now and you are in repayment of these student loans, little is changing immediately. What you do want to do is you want to make sure that all of your contact information is up to date on studentaid.gov, as well as with your loan servicers. So if you have a new email, if you have a new address, just make sure all of that is available to your servicer and you update that on your studentaid.gov. And of course, you always want to keep an eye out for any coming changes to federal student loans. Okay. I also have a link there with the Department of Education website where you can find all these new updated information. All right, and so just want to say that it's super important for you to stay up to date with the latest news on all things federal student loans. So you want to keep up with policy changes because federal student loan policies will change due to new litigation or any administration actions. Staying informed also ensures that you understand how these changes might impact your repayment plan, also your eligibility for forgiveness and also loan terms. For example, the SAVE plan or the Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program can be subject to change and legal challenges, which will require you to be aware of the latest updates and also to benefit from them, right? Staying updated helps you to verify that your payment history and important information are transferred correctly, especially if you're enrolled in programs like PSLF or the income-driven repayment plans. Um, It'll also help you to avoid any penalties or negative consequences, right? So missing payments due to confusion about these updates can lead to late fees, increased interest rates, and can also damage your credit score. Delinquency can also lead to default. You miss a payment, you are delinquent, it can lead to default, which also has very severe consequences like wage garnishment and loss of eligibility for future federal aid. So you definitely want to stay on top of these updates. Those updates also include some new programs that you might be benefit from. So take advantage of available benefits and options. Okay, so very important to stay in the loop. As much as sometimes we don't want to pay attention to the news, it's important to pay attention to news like this. All right, so next we're going to talk about student loan forgiveness programs. So there are several loan forgiveness options, but most programs have very strict eligibility requirements. Student loans can be forgiven under programs like the following: the Public Service Loan Forgiveness. Now, we're going to be breaking down these programs for you. So, the PSLF is for borrowers who work for eligible government and nonprofit employers. Okay, then you have the Teacher Loan Forgiveness, the TLF, which is for borrowers who work in eligible teaching jobs. We also have the Total and Permanent Disability Discharge for borrowers with a disability that severely limits their ability to work. And of course, the Income-Driven Repayment Forgiveness, which are for borrowers who repay their loans under an IDR, which we just spoke about. So I want to deep dive into the Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program. Again, this is for programs who work for public service, federal, state, tribal, or local government, or for a nonprofit organization. What it does is that it forgives the remaining balance on your direct loans after you've made 120 qualifying payments while working full-time for a qualifying employer. So only payments under a certain repayment plan, like the IDR plans, qualify for PSLF. Okay. So how do you know you're eligible? Well, they do have these things to meet. So one, you want to be employed by a U.S. federal, state, local, or tribal government, or a qualifying nonprofit organization. This also includes the U.S. military service. You want to work full-time for this agency. Full-time means 30 hours or more. Okay, that's considered full-time under the Department of Education with PSLF. You want to have direct loans. Let's say you don't have direct loans. You could always consolidate those other federal student loans into a direct loan so that you have qualifying loans. Then you'll be repaying your student loan under the income-driven repayment plan or a 10-year standard plan. And then make 120 qualifying monthly payments. They do not need to be consecutive, which is a great thing. But once you meet all of that and you have your 125 qualifying monthly payments all done, the rest of your loan debt would be forgiven under PSLF. Okay. All right. The next one is the Teacher Loan Forgiveness, TLF program. This aims to encourage individuals to enter and continue in the teaching profession, particularly in schools serving low-income communities. So to qualify, you have to have a loan type. Again, they're direct loans or FFEL loans. The teaching location, so you have to teach full-time for 5 consecutive academic years in a low-income elementary, secondary school, or educational service agency. The loan eligibility pretty much means that loans must have been made after October 1st, 1998, and have no loans prior to October 1st, 1998. Okay. The next one we have is the Total and Permanent Disability Discharge. This is a federal program that allows eligible borrowers to have their federal student loans forgiven or canceled if they become totally and permanently disabled. Now, to qualify for TPD, it is a long process. I'm just giving you like the surface stuff, right? What you really need. But if this is something that you are interested in, I do want to encourage you to sign up for our student loan empowerment services, because I know that this one is very tedious. So to qualify for TBD, you have to be totally and permanently disabled as defined by Social Security Administration or the Department of Veterans Affairs. You want to have federal student loans that are in repayment status, not forbearance, not deferment, but they have to be in repayment. You also have to show that you have a disability that prevents you from engaging in working, right? Anything that's sustainable, uh, gainful activity like work. Um, and then to apply for TBD discharge, you have to submit the following documentation. So a medical certification from a qualified healthcare professional, which pretty much means a doctor's note, right? It'll be a note or a form that's filled out by your physician. Um, you have to have a proof of disability benefits from either SSA or the VA, if applicable, and you want to complete the TBD discharge application form. Again, if you want more information around total and permanent disability discharge, please connect with me and I can help you with that. All right, so I know that I did talk about recertification, or at least I touched on it. So we're going to do a little deep dive on that, as well as consolidation and the 2Ds. All right, so when it comes to recertification or recertifying, again, if you're on an IDR plan or if you're in the PSLF program, you will need to recertify. So a couple of facts here is processing, pretty much what recertifying is, it's the process of providing your loan servicer with updated income and family information on a yearly basis. The servicer uses this information to recalculate your monthly payment amount, and they do that every year. So theoretically, if your income goes down, your payment should go down as well. So why do you want to recertify? You want to recertify because circumstances could change, right? Your IDR plans calculate your monthly payment based on your income and family size, which can really change in over a year. You can have another child, maybe twins, or you could like have a decrease in your income or maybe even lose a job. Okay, so that will affect how you repay your loans. It also helps to keep your payments accurate. So recertifying ensures that your monthly payments remain aligned with your current financial situation and your ability to pay. It also helps you to avoid increased payments. If you don't recertify, your monthly payment might increase to the standard repayment amount, potentially leading to a financial strain. All right. If you don't recertify, you can also be taken out of the income-driven repayment plan that you were in and put in a standard repayment plan, right? So again, potential for loan forgiveness. If you're missing a recertification deadline, it can impact your eligibility for loan forgiveness as well as for an IDR plan. Okay. And there are some consequences if you do not recertify. All right. There's this capitalization of unpaid interest. What that means is the unpaid interest will be added to your principal balance, which means it'll increase the total cost of your loan, right? Increased payments. So your monthly payment could increase to the amount that you'd pay under a standard repayment plan. Loss of eligibility. You might lose eligibility to certain IDR plans if you don't recertify. And it can also lead to delinquency and default. If you can't afford the higher payment, your loan could become delinquent or it could be even in default. Okay. Um, this is all this to say, just don't forget to recertify every year. Circumstances do change for you. Okay. Next, we want to talk about avoiding the 2Ds. So it's important to pay your student loans in a timely manner. Again, pay it in full and on time to avoid delinquency or even defaulting in your loans. So to break this down for you, delinquency is, pretty much the first day of a payment that you miss on your student loans. It becomes past due, also known as delinquent. Your loan account remains delinquent until you repay the past due amount or make other arrangements like ask for a deferment or a forbearance or even change your repayment plan so that you can actually make that payment. So when you go into default, if your loan continues to be delinquent, it'll go into default. So this is the point when the loan is considered to be in default. It varies depending on the type of loan that you have, right? For federal direct loans or for FFEL loans, it'll be considered to be in default if you don't make your scheduled student loan payments for at least 270 days. So after 270 days of not making any payments, your loans will go in default. Okay. So what are some consequences if you are delinquent and if you do go into default? Again, what we really want to avoid over here. So for delinquency, consequences include damage to credit score. So delinquencies can actually lower your credit score, making it harder to get loans, credit cards, or even rent the apartment that you're looking at. You can lose eligibility to certain federal benefits like repayment plans, deferment, or forbearance. And it can also lead to increased interest. Interest will continue to accrue on the loan, so potentially increasing the total amount that you owe. Okay, and that's with delinquency. So with default, the consequences include collection actions. So the loan holder can begin collecting on the loan by taking money from your wages, tax refunds, or other government repayments. There's wage garnishment, right? The federal government can garnish your wages, right, and use that to help you repay your loan. They can take your tax refunds, right, and could be they either withheld or they'll apply it to your loan debt. There's also the potential to lose eligibility for federal student aid or future federal student aid. And then you can also face legal action. So the loan holder can take you to court. You can risk being sued by the lender for repayment of a defaulted loan. You can be charged with the court costs, collection fees, attorney's fees, all other costs that are associated with the collection. Credit damage, right? It's going to get reported to the credit bureaus, further damaging your credit score. Um, it could take years really to recover, to get back your good credit. Other consequences, you might not be able to renew a professional license, or you may be prohibited from enlisting in the armed forces. You also might not be able to purchase or sell assets like real estate. Again, you want to avoid defaulting on your student loans. And I don't want to scare everybody. This is not about that. This is just you being informed of what could potentially happen if you do default on your loans. So it's best for us to just inform you and then just avoid going into default. Okay. So if you do have difficulty making payments, what do? You can request a forbearance. So forbearance is pretty much a process that allows you, the borrower, to pause your federal student loan payments. The interest does continue to accrue during this time and may also be capitalized, but it can actually put it on pause. So it'll give you some breathing room. Forbearances can last anywhere from 60 to 90 days, and there are different types of forbearances. For example, there's a processing forbearance, which means that if you are applying for an income-driven repayment plan, and they're looking at your application, that's a processing forbearance. Everything is on pause. You don't owe anything. We're trying to figure out what do you call it? How we want to move forward with your application. So they'll put you on a processing forbearance. And a general forbearance is pretty much you asking for a pause. And then we have a deferment, which is a process that allows a borrower to pause their federal student loan payments. Interest here does not accrue, and usually a deferment happens when you go back to school. I'm noticing that there are some questions in the chat. I'm afraid to open the box only because I know that it's going to mess up our screen, but I do see you, Grace. I see your hand raised there. So I think I can take some questions right now. Jonathan, if you could help me out with that.
Yeah, so we do have some questions. Grace, would you be able to enter your question in the chat window? That would help us manage all these questions. So let's see. Um, so we had a question about about the SAVE program. So um, let's see. They're looking for your thoughts on writing out the forbearance period versus starting to repay now. I've seen some people say they'll pay on interest and stay on save until they're forced to switch. The downside is these payments on interest won't count towards PSLF.
Yes.
Just a little hesitant to start repaying since things are so up in the air.
Yes, I am currently helping a lot of clients with that process right now. What we can do is you can sign up for our one-on-one services, and I can definitely walk you through that, because this is not a one answer fits all. It depends on your situation. It depends on your finances. It also depends on, you know, if you're paying a mortgage, a car note, other things, right? And so again, I would encourage you to sign up for services. I would definitely take a look at all the repayment options that are available right now to see which one makes the most sense for you. If you are on PSLF, it's definitely important for you to think about how to move forward with PSLF. Um, so I want to say, make a meeting with me. Let's schedule a meeting and talk about that, because it is very situational. But I do want to give you this. There is a loan simulator that you can use on the FSA website when you sign in. And it'll give you an idea of what repayment plan you qualify for and what those payments could potentially look like. Okay, how much you'd be paying. You could start doing the research now using that calculation tool to kind of see where you can go and what makes the most sense for you, without having to actually submit an application and get on that income-driven repayment plan. Okay. The save is going away. It's no longer an option. It's not coming back, unfortunately. So yeah, we could definitely talk through and see what your options are, and talk through your options and what you're most comfortable with. Because at the end of the day, it's up to you to decide what you want to do, whether you want to move forward or you just want to wait it out. Okay.
And I think this was a sort of a follow-up to that one.
Okay.
When making payments, if I did biweekly payments, would that count as one on-time payment as long as I made them both before the due date?
They would be considered a payment. I don't know if that means that would be two. That's a question for your servicer. Because I wouldn't know how they would count your payments. As long as you meet the due date, it's considered a payment, and you're good. You're in good standing with your repayments.
Um, okay, here's another question. I've always found that the Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program is super confusing. Is there someone I can talk to directly to help walk me through it?
I could definitely help you with that.
And yeah, we will provide the links so that you can connect with Angie.
Yes.
So okay, let's see. We do have a few more, a couple thank yous there. Let's see. I heard that I can make some interest payments for federal student loans. Is that an option? And this was from earlier in the program. I think maybe when you were talking about before you enter repayment.
Yes. So you could totally do that. You would have to talk to your servicer about that. Again, it depends on the agreement that you signed and what that looks like when it comes to your student loans. And I would encourage you to have that conversation with your servicer.
Okay, let's see. A couple on graduate students. What is the maximum amount graduate students can borrow in a federal loan? What is the interest percent?
Yeah, that's information that we do not have right now. I know that that's something that they're going to be talking about and will be coming out soon. So to be to be announced.
And I guess a follow-up, any websites or resources that can help graduate students to apply for scholarships or loans?
Yes, I want to say that I shared, we do have a resource sheet for you all with all the links to the videos that I'm playing, the information that I have, and other websites where you can find support. Although I don't think I have one on scholarships, but yeah, let's yeah, we can check in about that as well.
Okay. And yeah, I will include that resource link in my follow-up email today. So we have a few more questions in here. What excuse me, what designates a PSLF payment as qualifying? Is it that we check the PSLF eligibility qualifications, or is it a specific dollar amount or loan percentage? For example, if my current work qualifies me for PSLF and I'm in an IDR plan, could I essentially make 120 $1 payments and get them forgiven? I can't find information on this and want to put together a plan pre-2028.
So with PSLF, it's once you are working with that qualified employer, you have that full-time job, those payments are calculated with the IDR plan that you have. So whatever your monthly is, that's your payment. And that's different for every borrower, okay? That payment that you make on a monthly basis is going to count towards cancellation. So 120 payments, 120 months of that amount that they give you, they tell you this is how much you pay. That is a qualifying payment, whatever that amount it is that you're making that month. They calculate it for you.
Okay. Is the recertification every January 1st or every year from when you applied for the IBR plan?
Every year that you've applied, and they it's supposed to be on your servicer account or on your FSA account. It tells you when you're supposed to recertify.
Okay. With the IBR plans ending in 2028, will I still be able to stay in my current repayment plan, which is the PAYE, pay as you earn plan, or will they make me change my repayment plan?
They will make you change your repayment plan to the new, either the IBR or the new WRAP, which is a new income-driven repayment plan. We will have more information on that coming down soon. I just know that for new borrowers, none of these will be available to them. They do plan on sunsetting these IDR plans right now that you're all in by July of 2028. And I've heard down through the grapevine, probably sooner than that, but we will definitely let you know when that happens. Again, it's not going to happen immediately. There is going to be time for you to do some research. We will be here, so please connect with me, save my information, and we can walk you through that when the time comes.
Okay. We just have two more.
Okay.
My repayment plan says, quote, level, unquote, through Ed Financial. What does that mean?
So Ed Financial is your servicer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Rose, if you wanted to clarify anything about your question, you can put that in the chat or the Q&A.
Yeah. The servicer is those are the folks who you have to talk to in regards to your payments, your monthly payments, your repayment plan. They will give you the status of your loan. So yeah, that's what that part means.
Okay. We have some more questions coming in. Did you want to cover a little bit more? And
yeah, I feel like we should. Okay. Yeah, we should continue only because I feel like I might answer some future questions over here. Okay. So this is a video, and I think because of time, I'm gonna skip the videos, and you will have the links to the videos. I really want to get through the content of our presentation here. So I want to start with consolidating federal student loans. So here, loan consolidation is an option to help borrowers pay their student loans, right? This process allows the borrower to combine multiple federal student loans into a single direct consolidating loan. It allows you to actually also pick your servicer. So the new interest rate of the loan is a weighted average loan of all your loans put together. So the benefits of consolidating is that it makes it easier for you, the borrower, to make monthly payments to one servicer. A direct consolidation loan also gives you access to income-driven repayment plans and forgiveness options. And it also has a fixed rate. The disadvantages of consolidating is that borrowers have a longer repayment period. So if you're on a standard repayment, graduated repayment plan, if you're not on that plan, it's just going to take you a bit longer, right? You'll pay more interest. So any outstanding interest becomes part of the original principal balance. And then borrowers can also lose benefits. So either interest rate discounts or loan cancellation benefits if you're consolidating loans or other direct loans. And so you want to consolidate when it's to your advantage. You want to be strategic. You want to make it work for you so that it's not working against you. Again, this is all very situational depending on the borrower. Okay. So just some facts over here. You cannot consolidate federal loans with private loans. All right. Very different. And if you do consolidate, there is a chance for you to lose eligibility for PSLF, again, other repayment programs. Okay. Again, this is a more detailed video. I'm just going to skip it because I really want to talk about how you guys can get in touch with me. So repaying private student loans. So private student loans are so different from federal loans. And when it comes to paying back your private loans, you will have to pay back what you borrowed plus interest in the amount that you agreed to pay. Again, all of this is information that you will find on your loan agreement that you signed when you took out the student loans. The lenders or the collectors may be willing to negotiate because they do not have as many collection tools as the federal government. All right. Private student loan lenders cannot take your tax refunds. They cannot seize your Social Security benefits, and they cannot seize your wages before going to court. They have no access to do, they have no right to do that. All right. So a couple things that you should know is that private lenders they often hire collection agencies to go after you for payments, right? A defaulted private loan will show up on your credit report. And know that you do have the same rights as any other debt to fight back against any collection, harassment, or abuse. All right, so those rights still pertain to you as a consumer. So in terms of relief options for private student loans, they don't have the same flexible repayment plans or loan cancellation or other borrower protections that federal student loans have. Relief options for private student loans will depend on your lender and your loan agreement. And the best thing for you to do is to advocate for yourself. Contact the lender, request a copy of the agreement, and check their website for details. If payments become unmanageable, you can consider talking to them about a deferment or a forbearance. Both of these options will allow you to temporarily postpone or reduce your payments. Again, this is about you talking to them, okay, and connecting with them and advocating for yourself. All right, so when it comes to consolidating your private student loan, so private loan consolidation combines multiple existing private student loans into one larger loan. This also means you're refinancing your original private student loan with a new loan. So consolidating multiple private loans into a private consolidation loan may be a good idea for you if you get a better rate and prefer one monthly loan payment. All right. You will have a single monthly payment, which will make paying bills a lot simpler. Private student lenders may offer an interest rate reduction for credit-worthy borrowers. Pretty much means borrowers who have a good credit score, which can save you a lot of money over the lifetime of your loan. You want to read the fine print, right? So your consolidation loan may not have the same terms as your original loan. So you want to read the fine print, know what you're signing up for when you're consolidating your private loan. And remember that if you want to consider consolidating your private loans, you want to speak to a financial advisor. They would be the best people to talk about what it would look like if you consolidate private student loans, okay? All right, so beware of scams and scammers. So they do exist, all right? So you want to make sure that you just avoid fraud, avoid scams. If a company is reaching out to you, whether it's a phone call, a text, or a letter offering any assistance, just don't respond. What you want to do is you want to verify the information and research the company. All right. You want to check your student loan servicer and your studentaid.gov portal for any communication regarding your student loans. This is important for information for you to know, because then you'll see that people are going to try to scam you and try to say, hey, we got free information for you. We can help you, right? Red flag. You may also be receiving calls from your servicer if you are in default. So you got to be careful with that. Maybe your loan is not in default and a scammer's calling you and saying, hey, you're in default. And it's like, putting you in panic mode. Watch out for that, okay? Your loan holder will also help you with your defaulted loan for free. So if someone's calling you and says, I know you have a loan in default, I can help you, and you know your loan is not in default, that's a scam, all right? So check for those red flags all around. So be aware of scammers who promise to immediate student loan forgiveness or debt cancellation. We can do it. No, they can't. It's not that easy. All right. If they promise to eliminate payments or promise you $0 payments, again, too good to be true. No such thing. If they offer help with consolidation, even when it's not needed. Sometimes consolidating loans is not a good idea for you. So be aware of that. They also guarantee that they can remove legally owed debts to credit reports. Can't always happen. They also claim to be affiliated with the Department of Education, or sometimes they have official sounding names that it could be like, oh, they're legit. They can help me. Another red flag is when they pressure you to pay upfront fees. All right. Those fees will get you. Do not fall for those fees. One thing that I knew for sure is that these services are free. All right. These are free services, free information that you can actually get yourself. So be aware of that. They also require borrowers to sign a third-party organization or power of attorney. Huge, huge, huge red flag. Do not do that. And then they also request borrowers' federal student aid account. I will never ask you for your federal student aid account. All right. That information should stay with you and it's only for you. So remember, all right, do not give out your login information, any passwords, any FSA pins. Don't trust them. Don't do it. All right. Do not subscribe to any monthly service, sign a contract via DocuSign, or provide any payment information. Again, there's nothing that a company can do for you that you can't do for yourself for free. I'm doing this for you for free. This information you can find for free on the internet. Okay, so there's no need for you to be paying anything to anyone for this service. If you're receiving multiple calls a day offering special access guarantee, chances are that it's a scam. And you also want to file a complaint if you have been a victim of fraud to the DFPI and the FTC. We want to make sure that everyone is informed that there are dirty players out there taking advantage of borrowers, okay? So be very wary, question everything. All right, so I did talk a lot about advocating for yourself with your servicer, and you might not know what that really means, but we're going to break it down for you. What does it mean to advocate for yourself? In general, it just means for you to ask for help, ask for support. Specifically, it's the ability to identify your needs, communicate them clearly, and help others to understand how they can support you. Self-advocacy is really about asserting your rights and your needs. So why is it important to advocate for yourself? One, it empowers you to take control of your life, achieve your goals, ensure that your needs are being met, by clearly communicating your thoughts and desires. In this case, it empowers you to take control of your financial situation when it comes to your student loans. This advocating for yourself leads to increased self-awareness, confidence, and better outcomes in both your personal and professional life. It also helps to create independence, helps you to find solutions to problems that you have, and it can also help you build resilience, right? It ensures that you receive fair treatment and make informed decisions that align with your needs. So when it comes to speaking with your servicer, it means actively speaking up and taking action to protect your financial well-being. That is what we mean when we're saying advocate for yourself. Okay? So how do you do this? How do you show up when it comes to this? So the way you advocate for yourself is before you speak to your servicer, know what your issue is. Make sure that you can clearly identify what the problem is, what you're facing, and definitely gather relevant details like dates, account numbers, and specific actions that you've taken, right? Gather documentation, collect any supporting documents like receipts, emails, or even previous communication records that verify your claim. And then this works for me. Practice what you'll say, right? Rehearse your points to ensure that you're clear and you have a confident delivery. So that's how you can prepare. Now, when you're speaking to the servicer, you want to introduce yourself. You want to be clear, state your name, your account details. All of that is going to be asked of you at the start of the call. Then you want to explain your issue, right? Clearly articulate your concern using I statements and explain how the situation is affecting you. You want to be assertive, so speak confidently and directly about your needs without being aggressive or letting the emotion take the best of you. Because I know that speaking to a servicer can be very anxious, right? Overwhelming, give you anxiety. Again, just trying to put your best foot forward there. And then also ask clarifying questions. Sometimes these servicers may be speaking in a language that you don't understand, If you don't understand what they're saying or if it's unclear, it's okay to ask them to clarify, okay? Don't hesitate to ask for any further explanation. Again, I want to remind you that these servicers are here to support you in paying back your loans, all right? And then, of course, listen actively and propose solutions, work with them. And hopefully they will show you the same respect, the same assertiveness, and also propose solutions, and that you're working together through this issue that you need support with. So things to remember, don't be scared to ask someone that you've never met for help. You're just calling them on the line, right? You want to stay calm, be professional, and be respectful of their time. And my hope is that they are doing the same for you, that they are being mindful and respectful of your time as well, and respectful towards you. Know your rights, right? And follow up with them if needed. So I know that sometimes it can be very challenging to ask for that help or get that support, or sometimes you might get someone who is not showing you the same respect, right? And so I would say it also means that you want to escalate if necessary. Request a supervisor, right? If your concerns aren't being addressed, even after being very polite with them, you want to ask for a supervisor. You want to document the conversation. So keep notes of key details, including the date and the time and the servicer's name, which is going to be important. And then if they really, really are not working with you and making you feel like you're in a worse situation because of the phone call that you made with them, file a complaint. I feel like it's super important to file a complaint when needed. Why? Because if you have problems with the federal student loans, you actually should be able to kind of let them know, hold them accountable for not helping you. Okay. It underscores the seriousness of the issue that you have and that you really want to get this action, I want to resolve this. Again, it holds servicers, lenders, and other people accountable. It ensures that you're being heard, and it also protects you and other consumers. All right. And so when it comes to filing a complaint, know that you can actually file a complaint with the Department of Education, the Student Aid Ombudsman's Office. You can also get in touch with your state student loan ombudsman or advocate if your state has one, and we do have one here. If your issue involves your school, you can consider filing a complaint with the higher education agency. And if your issue has to do with private loans or student loan servicing, you can file a complaint with the CFPB, the Consumer Federal Protection Bureau, or the Federal Trade Commission. Okay. Now, I do have contact information for everyone here. Again, this is going to be on the resource sheet that Jonathan will share with you. And also some resources like the National Consumer Law Centers, so the NCLC. They have a student loan borrower assistance. They have free information on their website, very vetted, very legit. These are attorneys who work here, okay? So definitely take advantage of that. There is also free legal help available. You can contact your legal aid organization to see if you qualify for free services. You can also find them at lawhelp.org. And then there's NACA, the National Association of Consumer Advocates, and this is specific to private loans. You can get support here, and their website is down below as well. Again, all of these links are going to be on that resource sheet that will be shared with you. Okay. All right, so to sum things up, remember student loan borrowers have rights in the state of California. All right, you want to research and apply for income-driven repayment plans if you're eligible. You want to recertify every year when you're on the IDR plan or on the PSLF. There are relief options for private student loans, but it will depend on your lender and your loan agreement and how much you advocate for yourself. Okay. It's important to advocate for yourself when speaking to your servicer. Remember, they work for you and they should meet you in the middle. And file a complaint if your experience is unresolved, if you experience unresolved issues with your servicers or lenders. And know that the Student Loan Empowerment Network is here to support you. Do not hesitate to ask us for help. We are here for you. Okay, so I know that we reviewed some questions. Wanted to see if there were any more questions.
Yeah, so we do have some questions. This is, I think, clarifying about PSLF. Do I have to work for a nonprofit the entire time of making those 120 payments?
Yes. So let's say, for example, you work for a nonprofit right now, you've worked for them for 5 years, and those 5 years will count towards PSLF. And then let's say for the next 2 years, you either not working or you're working for another agency that does not qualify for PSLF. Those payments will not count towards PSLF. And let's say you find a third job and that job is for a nonprofit organization and they do qualify for PSLF. They are eligible for that. Then those payments while you're working at that will count towards that. And if you're working there for 5 years, there go 5 years here, 5 years here, and boom, you have your 120 payments, and then you can the rest will be forgiven.
Okay. Since the save payment option is gone now, will borrowers automatically be put in a standard repayment plan?
Yes, if you do not apply for another repayment plan, you will be automatically put there.
Okay. I think this was following up to the question earlier, where level was the let's see what the so the repayment plan was listed as level. Does that
that doesn't sound familiar to me. Level?
Yeah, so maybe this is something they need to
yes,
ask their servicer.
Yeah, you might want to ask your servicer what that that is, because either you're on a standard, extended, graduated, that's the federal repayment option. And then the IDR plans, which is the IBR, ICR pay. So I'm not sure what that one is.
Okay. Um, Someone's saying, I have seen in the news that the student loans have been transferred to being managed by the Small Business Administration. Is that true?
That is something that they have been talking about, but it's not right now. That's not the case. Um, but they have been talking about making that move.
Okay. Oh, and this is maybe a question I can answer. Will there be another session like this one via the library once more information is received about the new repayment changes? The answer is yes. We will have Angie back once there is more clarity on the changes to student loans. So yeah, keep an eye out. Uh, Sign up for our newsletter or keep an eye on our event calendar. We will be having this program again.
Yes.
Let's see. With Save gone, at what point should I apply for an IBR IDR plan to resume repayments towards PSLF?
That's up to you to decide when you want to do that. And if you are ready to do that, we'll be more than happy to walk you through that process.
Okay. Let's see. Um, See, so someone was asking, what is the process once your loan is in default? Or where is there more information on that?
I would definitely encourage you to get in touch with us at the Student Loan Empowerment Network. I would connect you directly with an attorney who can support you with that. If you are in default, definitely get in touch with us. I'm going to go ahead and share my contact information. This is a survey that I would appreciate if you could fill out and let us know, give us some feedback about the content, the workshop itself. We'd love to hear from you. But here is the QR code if you want to sign up for our services, especially for those of you who are in default. Please get in touch with us. If you are assigned to me, I will directly connect you with our specialized borrower support, because it's so important for us to get you out of default. So we'd rehabilitate you out of default, and it'll be a longer presentation if we do that. So it's better for you to work with someone who has experience with that and can support you with that. Again, our services are free. Please come and sign up, and we can help support you as you pay off your student loan debt, and we can also help you to figure out ways to be able to manage that debt as well. Because we also do give out general financial education as well as student loan counseling. And so these are all our services. There's the QR code that will lead you to our intake as well as a Zoom scheduler so that you can schedule a meeting with me. Okay?
One last question.
Yes.
What's the current federal student loan interest percentage?
Oh, it depends on the type of loan that you take out. That's not a simple answer. Yeah.
Okay. And so if this was someone, maybe trying to decide what kind of loan to take out, where would they find that information? Or if it's a loan they already have, where would they see their interest?
You would be able to find that interest rate either on your servicer account or on the FSA account. When you log into your federal student aid account, it'll take you to the dashboard. It'll also show you the interest rate for each loan that you took out. It breaks down every loan that you've taken out, and it gives you the details in your FSA account. And I can walk you through that if you need help with that as well.
All right. Well, those were all great questions. Thanks everyone for asking those questions in the chat and the Q&A. Thank you, Angie, so much for joining us today and for generously sharing your expertise and all of this information and resources.
Awesome.
Oh, I'm glad you have your contact information up
Yes.
there. So yeah, everyone, feel free to reach out to Angie if you know want any clarification or to sign up for this wonderful free service that is provided by the state of California and organizations like MyPath. Um, yeah, again, thank you all for joining us today. I hope you learned a lot. And keep an eye out for an email from me. That'll either be later this evening, if the recording is ready, or if not this evening, tomorrow morning. I'll send you that link, a copy of the slideshow, and a list of all the links and resources that Angie mentioned during the presentation today. I'm also going to include a link to a very brief program evaluation survey from the library. It Please take a moment. It only takes like a minute or two. Take a moment to fill out that survey. It helps us to improve our programs and to plan new ones. So if there's something you'd like to see us uh, cover in a program, that's a great place to let us know. So do that. And that is all. Thanks again, Angie.
Thank you all for having me. Thank you, Jonathan. Have a good evening, everyone.
Yeah, have a good evening, everyone. Hope to see you at one of our upcoming programs.
For sure. Have a good one.
Take care, everyone.